Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. We're going to go over 17 items that has sold for over $200 each for a total of over $9,000. Now, these are going to be some items that sold in the month of October 2020. So if you're not subscribed, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button. Let's get right into it. Lots of great bolos, so you definitely want to watch the entire video. And if you like these kind of videos, definitely go down there and click the like button. I really appreciate it. First up, we have this Christmas Ski Village Retreat. This is kind of like a larger, kind of almost just under 2 feet tall. It was basically like almost like a Department 56 type of item here with a little train and light up kind of ski village. Now, this isn't Department 56. It's basically like an unknown brand, but it's still sold for $200. So, these are definitely seasonal items. So if you have any Christmas stuff, I would highly suggest listing it over the next couple days if you're watching this video. Usually November is a good time to start listing Christmas stuff. And just like, for Halloween, September is usually a good time to start listing Halloween stuff. So same with Christmas. If you got some ornaments in your storage units or wherever you have them, start bringing them out and start listing them. This sold for $200 plus shipping. Next up, we have this new sealed 1974 Thermopylae. This is a model kit from Revell. For those who don't know, Revell is been making model kits for many years. They're in the same pages like Monogram and all those things. What's nice is this is not a reprint. This is an actual old vintage kit, and finding these sealed is very hard to do, as you can see here. This one did have a little bit of rip in the plastic, and that was fine. This did go overseas, so we used a global shipping program for this. Look out for any model kits. If you ever see them sealed and new, definitely look them up. If they have barcodes on them, that usually is going to mean that they're newer ones. So if you ever see an old looking one, like see, this is 1974. If you see an old one that has a barcode on it, it's a reprint. They do reissue model kits, so it's just something to get familiar with. And like I said, if you see a vintage model kit and it has a barcode on it, it's definitely going to be a newer one from at least, like, I think they started doing barcodes in like 79 or 80. So definitely look out for that kind of stuff. This sold for a total of $200 plus shipping. And this thing was kind of a funky monkey to ship. I had to Frankenstein a box. This thing was like long and pretty crazy. But anyways, look out for bottle kits. There's some really crazy expensive ones out there. Next up, we have this 2008. This is a Ping custom made putter. It is a glass putter, custom made, as you can see here. It is signed, etched on the bottom. Let me see if I have a photo of that. As you can see there, so it had a little bit of nicks and everything, and it wasn't perfect. But this particular artist, and I forget what the name is. Let me look here. Ray Matthew Jr. Was You can definitely look this stuff up. See, there's a huge chip right there, and it wasn't on the head though, thankfully. So you could still use this pretty well. It's just a lot of these glass. There's some of these things you can look online to see them. They're kind of unique as far as putters, because what they do is they take like a putter. They remove the head and then they make a custom one out of glass and then they put it back on. And so this was a pretty good find. We had this for a while, and it finally sold. And so as you can see here, it's definitely a vintage Ping, and this sold for $200 plus shipping. So just keep an eye out if you ever see glass putters. Um, I don't think there's any glass putters that I've ever seen that don't do very well. So if you ever see them, just pick them up if the price is right. No questions asked. Next up, we have this 10 karat gold. This is an Omega reversible choker, 17 inches. And what it means by reversible is that one side it's yellow gold and the other side is white gold. And we can see here, there's the 10K mark. So it's on a little bit of the lower end of the spectrum. We've talked about carats before in the past. 14 karat is usually traditional for most jewelry because 24 karat, which is pure gold, is a very soft metal. So they add different types of other metals to it to make them stronger. So 10K, you could see 10K stuff usually for class rings and things like that. But anyways, silver and gold has been selling very well. They're sold for $205 plus shipping. Next up, we have this Hermes. This is a scarf silk multicolor. This is one of the standard little handkerchiefs, the little like 17 by 17 squares. Sometimes, most scarves are going to be the rectangles, and this one is a legit square, very thin. You wouldn't think this would be worth a lot of money, but Hermes is. And just a warning, they do a lot of counterfeits, and there's a lot of fakes out there. So just know what you're looking for. A lot of the counterfeits, just for your information, will usually not have the Hermes Paris or anything Hermes on it. It'll be the same exact design, but it won't have this little copyright Hermes on it anywhere. So if you ever see any Hermes stuff, patterns and things that don't say Hermes anywhere on them, then it's usually probably a fake. But definitely do your research. Look for the tags in the corner. Did I take a photo of the other tag? There should be another tag here. I guess that was the only tag on this thing. As you can see here, usually another tag. This might just be, usually the scarves will have a double tag like that. This sold for $222 plus shipping. So just like Hermes ties, look out for scarves. They do very well. Next up, we have this vintage Star Wars lot of 35 figures. As you can see here, lots of great vintage figures. Now, sometimes you might get caught up thinking that some of the 90s figures, even though we can call them vintage now, they're not truly, this is true vintage from 70s and the 80s. Some of the ones that are from the early 90s, nowadays could be considered vintage because of it's over 20 years old, but those aren't, those are considered like, I forget what they call them, like classic figures or Power of the Force, but these are legit vintage figures. As you can see here, they have a lot of wear to them, so they didn't really go for a ton of money. Back in the day, a set like this would probably go for like 40 bucks. But with a lot of new collectors coming into the market, the popularity of Star Wars increasing all the time, this set actually sold for a pretty good amount of money. And some pro tips, by the way, too. Some of the accessories and the weapons go for tons of money a piece because they've made so many reproductions of these over the years. Finding the legitimate ones for the true collector that wants a complete set with non-reproduction um, weapons. Some of the weapons go for like $10 or more a piece. So if you ever come across a collection like this, I would highly suggest separating out the weapons, and you can even sell the weapons by themselves. And just taking a look at this collection here, I don't see any figures that are like super rare because there's Power of the Force figures that were like some of the very later vintage releases that came in 1985 and 1986. They didn't really make too many of those, and those are the very rarest ones. And the loose ones by themselves go for a ton of money. I don't see any of them here, so Yoda's a good figure, Boba Fett's a good figure. This Han Solo down here, they make one with a smaller head. It's like a variation. Also, the the Darth Vader and the Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you can find those with the pop out lightsaber, some of those go for thousands of dollars. Anyways, this sold for a total, or actually, this sold for $228 plus shipping. So keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. It's out there. Next up is this Japanese handmade titanium tumblers from the Sus Gallery. We've talked about these before in the past in some videos if you've watched the videos. And by the way, if you're not subscribed, definitely go down there and click the like button and subscribe if you're enjoying this kind of content. I don't know, whatever reason, these things are worth a ton of money. They're made out of titanium and they're pretty rare, and they're just kind of like interesting tumblers. And just so look out for this Sus Gallery. It's SUS Gallery, especially these tumblers from Japan. These are import items, so finding these actually in the United States would be a little harder to do because most of the ones that were listed were from Japan. So just something to keep an eye out for if you're ever looking at that. Believe it or not, these sold for $250 plus shipping, so keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. It's definitely a weird tumbler and very expensive tumbler. Next up, we have this antique 800 silver. These are just butter knives, as you can see here. And 800 silver is, I think it's like a European mark, which is like, 925 is sterling silver here in America. And I think 925 carries into Europe. But, if you ever see 800 silver, it means 80% silver. And We try to get $700 for this, but I will say one thing, another pro tip. By the way, oh, this one actually looks like could be imperial. Anyways, the butter knives usually have stainless steel, what do you call it, blades, and the handles are usually sterling silver. So don't think like you can weigh this and it's going to be exactly like however you weigh that many ounces in silver, because it's not the case, because the blades are stainless steel, steel. So usually the handles are just the things that are the valuable sterling part. Anyways, we had a huge lot of this, and so I separated all the butter knives out and sold this in one giant lot. And this sold for $301 plus shipping, just because of the fact that it's not pure silver. And some of these things can sell individually for like between $10 and $12. So there's that. Next up, we have this Leonard Reedy. This is a watercolor of Native American horses. As we can see here, we've talked about art before in the past. Just if you ever see the names, just look them up. Sometimes you're going to get art that you won't be able to find. You won't be able to read the artist's signature. And trust me, I've been doing this for a long time, and I still find that stuff all the time where you just cannot lock down a name. Luckily, this Leonard H. Reedy, very easy to read. No pun intended, Reedy. That's funny. Anyways, this sold for a total of $350 plus shipping. And you notice a lot of these things we take best offers on. Price high, you can always bring the price down. Usually going to get a best offer for something that's probably what it's worth. So keep an eye out for American Indian type artwork that does very well. Next up, we have these Balenciaga track shoes. These. What's crazy is these shoes are actually in pretty. They're not in bad condition, but as you can see here, they do have a little bit of yellowing and a little wear to them. These are probably from 2008, 2009, if I was to guess, just from the yellowing of the white soles. As we can see here, Balenciaga is definitely a brand to look out for. Now, there are some fakes and there are some reproductions out there, so just keep an eye out for the quality. And we've talked about that kind of stuff before in the past. These sold for $380. So, I mean, look out for this brand. It's out there. We get this stuff donated to us quite frequently. So, people might not be aware of this brand, but is a Super Bolo brand, especially for designer shoes. So keep an eye out for those. Next up is the great old Tiffany & Company brand. We have a turquoise 20-inch necklace. This is $750, which equals to 18 karat gold. Sometimes some European marks will be there'll be like a European way of saying gold for 18 karat is $750. And so if you see $750 on something, here's a kind of like a pro tip too, is like sometimes people, they don't know that there's different marks for gold and silver, and sometimes people might just think they're not gold or silver because it doesn't say 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold. So just keep an eye out for this kind of stuff at garage sales, because sometimes people don't know what they have, and sometimes if like we say on the channel, the more you learn, the more you earn. You can definitely be finding this kind of stuff out there. Anyways, we took this actually sold for $449 plus shipping. This is a really good sale, really nice Tiffany piece. So, like I said, there's also reproductions of this stuff. I'm not going to go into it about what to look out for, just to know that Tiffany & Company is another brand of stuff that you need to like kind of double check their kind of things. And I'll just tell you really quick. Usually the Tiffany & Company copyright information, it'll be a little off as far as like quality. Tiffany & Company is going to have like super good quality. So if you see something that looks a little off, like the stamping's kind of weird, or there's like little bits in the stamping, it's usually going to be a reproduction. So that's one of the things definitely to look out for. Next up, we have this Lalique. This is a huge bowl, kind of like leafy crystal bowl. Crystal bowl. As you can see here, this thing's 18 inches long, and this thing weighs a ton. How much did I ever say how much it weighs? Yeah, 14 pounds. So imagine like a kind of like a piece of glass. Like 14 pounds in your head might not seem like a lot, but if you're holding this thing, 14 pounds is super, super heavy. And we talked about crystal lead glass before in the past. If you pick up a piece of glass and it seems like oddly heavy for the size, it's usually lead crystal, and that's usually the highest quality crystal. So that's the other thing with like pinging it with your fingernails and There's a little bit of a wives' tale to that, but anyways, the weight usually can tell you too, like, oh, this is lead crystal, and just the way it kind of looks. And lead crystal is going to be very, very clear. Anyways, I can go on. I can go on and on about crystal, but anyways, this sold for. We took a best offer for $600 on this plus shipping. This thing was sitting around for about half a year before it sold. We had lots of lowball offers, lots of interest, but no one wanted to pull the trigger for $1,000, which is probably what it's worth. If it was for insurance purposes or whatever, it'd probably be $1,500. But trying to get the brand new in box price for that $600 is pretty reasonable. So that's what we got for that. Next up is another Tiffany & Company solid gold 18 karat ball stud dangle chain. Geez, I'm freaking key. There's a keyword stuff in title right there. And by the way, you got to do that with these keywords. You never know which one is going to trigger that customer finding your item. So you definitely want to put in those different keywords. As you can see here, some really nice double drop pierced earrings. You can see my reflection of my camera in there. And these are Tiffany & Company. Tiffany & Company is usually mostly known for their silver stuff, but their gold stuff goes for pretty good money. So, it's one of those companies that I would not sell the gold by the weight. So like if you weighed this, it'd probably be worth like, I don't know, $500 or $600. We got a pretty good amount of money of it just because it has the Tiffany name, it has the box, it has the little thing, and all the little paperwork goodies. So you definitely want to look out for this kind of stuff. And as you can see here, I think I did a mark. Yeah, see, that's what it says. T and Co. As you can see, pretty clean stamp, like we said before, about looking out for fakes. I've only seen silver fakes, so I'm sure there's gold fakes out there, but the only like kind of reproductions I've seen has been silver. But then again, I haven't been exposed too much to Tiffany and stuff. We get this Tiffany and Company stuff in like probably every month, so definitely look out for that kind of stuff. Like I said, no, I didn't say this sold for $700. We took a best offer plus shipping. Pretty good sale. There you go. Here is the top four. You waited all this time for the top four. Here is number 4. We got this Movado ladies jewel watch. This is a 14 karat gold watch. This is a really, really nice watch. Kind of small when you really think about it, but just the fact that it's 14 karat gold, that's a lot of weight, even though it's a smaller watch. Gold weighs 20 times more than water. So it's got some pretty good density to it. Even though it's a soft metal, it's kind of gold is a very weird element for sure. And I think that's why it's so prized throughout thousands of years of human history. Anyways, back to the watch. This sold for a total of $820. So we did take a best offer on this also. Pretty good sale, and watch didn't even work. It's just someone bought it probably just for the gold content. Number 3 in our top 17, we got this vintage Wallace Rose Point sterling silver flatware set. 38 pieces. This is a great sale from Jake in San Jose. So huge shout out to Jake. This set sold for $1,100. So exactly what you see there is exactly what was paid plus shipping and tax. And like I've said before, always look out for sterling silverware. Sometimes people don't know what they have at a garage sales. Usually, estate sale people know about this kind of stuff. This is more like a flea market garage sale find if you're ever going to find this stuff in the wild. Finding this stuff in the wild at an estate sale is pretty hard to do, especially like a Goodwill also. You almost got to find this kind of stuff like at a garage sale for someone that just can't, look, at the little fine print on something. And like I said, we talked about silverware in nauseum to the past. Next up, number 2 out of 17 is this Bill Nebeker signed 1994 bronze sculpture bookends. These are very nice, and they have my initials there, CA. I thought that was pretty cool. Probably for California, I have no idea. Anyways, as you can see here, this one has a nice kind of original engraving from 1994, as you can see here, and it is marked 46 out of 50, so it was a very, very small edition. These things were super heavy. Did I put the poundage on here? I probably didn't. Oh yeah, so these things weighed like 12 pounds each. Each bookend weighed 12 pounds, so a total of 24 pounds total. These were heavy duty. If I wanted bookends, it's funny because we've talked about this before, about bookends is, the ones, a lot of the modern day bookends are so flimsy and you couldn't even stack books in between them without them falling over. These are heavy duty. These are like legit bookends. Like if I've ever seen them in the 30 years plus of selling on eBay and doing all that kind of stuff. These are like heavy duty. Anyways, these are really cool and impressive. These sold for a total. We took a best offer for 1150, so $1,150 plus shipping. And these things are kind of easy to ship. They sit pretty well um, in the box because they're so heavy. We just had to separate them a little bit and make sure that they were tightly in the box so they don't roll around. Because these things start, 12 pounds each. These things start dangling around in a loose box. There's going to be some problems for sure. The number one item, but before we get to the number one item, let's pause for a second. Do you enjoy these videos? I hope you do. And if you do, go down there, click the like button before we get to this number one item. I really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm out. You guys really enjoyed this video last week, so I'm doing it again just for you. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Number one item, more silverware. So this is actually the other piece to those knives, those butter knives we sold before I separated them out, because this is true weight. These things are going to be 100% silver. There's no what do you call it, stainless steel in this lot. It's all pure silver. Even though it's 1800 or 18800 silver, which means it's 80% silver, so you can actually weigh this whole thing and then figure out exactly what it's worth for the melt value. We priced it for $2,000. We didn't get that, but we did get, let me see what price we got for this. $1,765, so $1,765 for this lot. As you can see here, I think I did take a close-up photo of the back. As we can see here, there's the 800 mark. It kind of seems a little weird, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you might actually pass it up. This is a really good showing of this mark right here. Anyways, I'm Chris at Thrift Shop Postler. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go down there, click the like button. Subscribe for more great content like this, and I hope everyone learned something. And if you did, I appreciate it. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.